I have been praying for my husband to be revealed. And the people that I had trusted with that spiritually all said something like very consistent, like your husband is already in your life and you're very close to him. And I was just like, there is no man in my life that I am close enough to that I consider to marry this person.
Hey guys, I'm so excited for this episode of Couples in Conversation.
Yes, we are here. And we thank you guys for joining us every so often. We get to have these conversations and just create a platform to give people something to look forward to,
to have
talk about these
conversations.
journeys and these stories of these phenomenal couples. We actually have another phenomenal couple with us today, and we wanted to introduce them to you guys.
Yes, help us welcome Leticia and Zach. How are you guys?
Hi. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us on. We really were excited about doing this. We are excited about telling our story and being able to hopefully be an inspiration to other couples.
Yeah, we love hearing stories of other couples. We feel like it's so important to be able to have that conversation and to connect in that way. But before we get started, we like to have this segment. We call it Getting to Know Our Couples.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we have a quick, I guess it's like a rapid fire game that we play, and
Random questions.
Babe, don't mess up, babe. Don't mess up, babe. Be on point.
We need to do it like the newlywed game next time.
Yeah.
Like where we have to like figure out
Yes,
what the person to say. So what we do is we'll give you two choices, and Zach, you can answer which one is you, and then Leticia, you can answer which one is you.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives us an idea of fun things about you.
Okay.
So the first one is, do you prefer to eat out or to eat in?
Eat in.
Eat out.
Mm.
I'm eat out too.
I'm eating.
I want to cook.
I'm overcooking. I'm over it.
Yes, right? Okay, so
Next one is save or spend.
Save.
Spend.
Listen,
So hold on.
it's identical so far.
Listen, and we did not plan this. We did not plan this. Okay, yeah, absolutely. As you get to know more about Zach, you will absolutely understand why he says save.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna find out. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this one? Do you like action movies or romance movies?
Action movie.
Action movies.
Okay.
Action.
Mm-hmm.
I see the action is good if it has romance in it.
In it.
Yeah.
So you really want romance.
When it doesn't, she's like, "Oh, this is the worst movie ever."
No, I'm just like,
really?
It was all right. Like, where's the love part in it? I don't know.
All right. So next one, introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
People wouldn't believe this about me because of my personality and what I do for a living, but I am actually an introvert.
No.
I am.
Absolutely not.
I am not an extrovert. I am not an extrovert, and people don't believe that, but I am truly an introvert. He knows that, though. He knows that. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, I'm about to say we gotta ask questions about that too.
He said I'm a hybrid.
Oh, I think that's true. I think you can be both, because I think
you can be both too.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna write that down because I think this is the first time we got two introverts, and so that I'm sure, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting also because of what I do professionally. People don't think so because I talk for a living.
Mm-hmm.
I would have never thought.
Okay, did you do that one?
No.
Okay,
that's you.
So this me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one you have three choices because we had to expand it just to be fair.
Okay.
Do you prefer Audible, the actual book, or a podcast?
Book.
The book, definitely.
Both of y'all like. Okay, so what do you like about the book over the other one?
Our bedroom is like filled with books under the bed, on our dressers, like everywhere. I think it's something about holding it in your hands. What do you think, babe?
With me, it's just really habit. I've never changed my habits. Like I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I don't have access to the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't not prefer audiobooks, but if books just do something to me. I've always been addicted to books.
Yeah. It is something about even like the smell of the paper and
Yes.
being able to feel through
Yes.
the notes in there.
Yeah. It puts you in a mindset, I feel like, when you have the book. I feel like your mind is ready to receive the information. See, I'm not trying to get into, psychotherapy here, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's something about that book in your hand.
Yeah.
It's almost like a study type deal for me. Like if I have a book, yeah. But as I'm getting older, my eyes are getting worse. I'm like audible.
Exactly.
You're like, let me put my glasses on.
Yes, my reading glasses. I'm like, can't even believe that I'm there. But yeah. Okay, cool. So that was interesting to get to know you, to give us some interesting things to kind of talk about. So we're excited about today's topic. We are talking about saying I do, right? Yeah. So choosing that person to be with. Right?
Big step.
Yeah. And so we wanted to have you guys on because we know that you guys have chosen each other. And we wanted to get to know just a little bit more about what that journey was like, and like what specifically did you
what went through your mind to say like this person was the one? Because that's not, it's not a small feat,
No, it's not.
Especially this day and age, like nobody's really wanting to be in a long-term relationship. Everything is like fast paced and microwave.
Let me try this
and
let me try that.
If I don't like it, then
you know what I mean? That, and then I throw that.
Yeah. What was going through your mind?
You want to go first?
So, well, with me, I don't make any decision unless I'm sure. So enough time passed that I was sure. So it wasn't like a hard decision. It wasn't a tough decision. I thought for a second, and all I needed was a second, and I made my decision.
Yeah, that's good.
For me, it was something that really happened in a very interesting way. I have been praying for my husband to be revealed, and the people that I had trusted with that spiritually all said something like very consistent, like your husband is already in your life and you're very close to him. And I was just like, there is no man in my life that I am close enough to that I consider to marry this person. And to fast forward a bit, we were literally in a car together heading to a wedding. I didn't have a date. This is interesting. I did not have a date to a wedding. And so I was talking to him. And just, I think it's important for the audience to know. So Zach and I have been best friends for 18 years. Okay. Wow. That is significant.
Wow.
Okay. So we have nursed each other through every possible situation in life, but from the position of being friends. And we were just driving, and he was driving and joking and just talking about things that have happened between us over 18 years. And it was just literally like a bell rang, and I turned and looked and said to myself, like, it was you all this time? And it was just like, from that moment to this one, we just have decided that we are not going to waste any more time because it's us. And I think I want to say this before you guys move on. This is important too. The reason why we should have known is because even in our friendship, when we first became friends, we made a promise to each other that if one person called the other person from the airport and said, we are leaving our lives and starting over, we would meet the other person, that it didn't matter what was going on, right? Wow. We always made that promise. And so now looking back, I'm like, who other than your soulmate do you make a promise like that to? And you know what I'm saying? Where you're willing to shut everything down, but we really meant it. We really, really did. And we consistently said it through the years and reminded each other about that. And I think that is why we both should have known, but we didn't.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, so two things I got out of that just off the rip is, one, it is possible, fellas, that you can get out of the friend zone.
Yes.
And actually, it is possible. It is possible. And two, I think, Zach, what you said was great about being sure.
Mm-hmm.
Men, we always make like impulsive decisions and just go with how, we feeling in the moment and just do things out of impulse. But you made sure it was a decision that you didn't want to go back on. And you knew you were confident in that decision when you made it.
Definitely.
I just think that that's great.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. I think that if we made moves like that with all our decisions, we can deal with the outcome no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So I've learned quite a few times, to just be sure, and I made sure I was sure.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a life hack
Yes.
right there.
For real.
To me too.
Relationships, other decisions, like financial decisions, all of that.
Make
man.
sure you're sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that makes me want to ask you, what made you know that you were sure?
That's a good question.
Experience.
Mm.
Our experiences.
Oh, okay.
Our experiences together. When we met, we were both young and we both were on a come up and we were both doing our thing. But no matter what position we were in life, it didn't matter. We was always there for each other. So it's those experiences, the ups and downs, and just all those experiences. I know what I was like getting myself into. But now it's like a mature version of what I was getting myself into. You know what I'm saying? So that the maturity is what made me 100% sure, like, I could do this. You know what I mean?
And I think it's important too that, we tell our story. So we first started off by dating. Okay. We both started off by dating each other. And we dated how long, babe? How long did we date?
No.
It was not long. And we and I turned to him and was like, we need to be friends. Like, we need to be friends. And we were. And I am so grateful that we made that decision 18 years ago, because I believe that decision is why we're here now.
Yeah.
Not because we didn't allow one another. We recognized the importance of our friendship, and we didn't want to hurt one another. And we weren't, in a place to really be where we are now. And I think we recognized that we were honest with ourselves and one another. And we were still able to be in each other's lives in a really, really profound way. And then it was just like, okay, this is just the next step. It's just the next natural progression.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that, because it's like the basis of, I think, as marriage evolves and as things happen, the basis of that is you got to keep that friendship.
Yes.
So to be able to, like, y'all have that friendship, you know what I mean? And then you're just building upon it. And something that Zach has said was like the consistency, when you have a friend, you go with them through good, bad, immature, mature, like you see them grow and evolve.
Yeah.
It's like a consistent thing that happens. And that's the same really for marriage, because you're still growing, evolving, doing all that stuff.
And people suffer that, because they don't see the value. I'm glad that you guys are really spending a lot of time on the friendship piece, because that, is so important with keeping the bond, and that connection with relationship, that friendship. Can I laugh in front of you? Can you let down, your hair in front of me?
He's trying to call me on my
No,
wig.
I'm not. She talks about it all the time, so I could do
no, because there was a point I'm like, you go out and I'll wash my hair.
Oh my God.
Exactly. And she'll spend like she'll like go on a date with it. Like she'll like, it'll be a spa day just between her and
whatever.
No,
listen,
but I mean,
we are so opposite, because my wig came off during sleep, and I got up and he was like, "Oh, baby, your wig came off while you were sleeping. Here you go." Oh, baby, thank you.
Like he's the one. He's the one.
He's the one. Definitely.
That's how you know. Yeah.
That's how I knew.
That's how you knew.
That's funny.
I didn't have to get to know her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew what I was dealing with. And I think that's important to know what you're dealing with, because a lot of us go into situations and we allow the lust or the immediate gratification or the time that we're going through to allow us to make that decision without knowing what we get into. But, we don't make life decisions without knowing what we're getting into. So why make those decisions without knowing you get into, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I kind of had that standpoint, like this is a major life decision. So I'm going to treat it like a major life decision. Like I know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
I'm cool with this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that?
It's so real. It's so real because you know what? And I had to also acknowledge before you guys move forward, because I think this is important for your listeners. This really helped me a lot as a woman. You know, I was very successful professionally. I was very successful in every area of my life, but I was not successful romantically because I was not applying the same skills that allowed me to be successful professionally to my romantic life. So being and having a friendship with Zach, you know, one thing is, as I told him about all my dating woes and marriage breakups and bust ups and all of that, you know, he never judged it, but he always encouraged me to really think very strategically about my relationship decisions. I didn't listen, obviously, but he always gave me that advice. And I think that piece is important as well. We have to look at who we spend our time with, who we're coupled with, and take that just as seriously as we take our professions and our careers and our child rearing. It's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something about when it gets to things like work, health, finances, like we make sacrifices and we do the preparation work to do that. But when it comes to relationships, you know, it's so difficult for us to implement those same, you know, tools and strategies, you know?
Yeah. Why do you, I think off the top of my head, I'm thinking it's because like our feelings are all intertwined and attached, or I was going to say whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think that that's why a lot of times people, they don't, I guess, pay attention to it the way that they should?
I think, you know what? I think that this is like a three-pronged answer because the reality is part of it is the feelings. I think the second part is based on what we've seen in our families, right? So the dysfunction that we've seen. So we're used to certain things that may not really work, but we saw it. So we do it based on what we saw. And I think the last thing is societal expectations. I think that sometimes people get to a point in their lives where it's like, okay, now I'm insert whatever age, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, whatever the age is, right? So now I need to just make this work. And I would really caution people not to do that. Don't listen to, you know, society's time marker of what you should be doing at any specific time. It's about that. And I think that if those three things are looked at, people will have much more success in their relationships. If they were also, and lastly, and most importantly, very transparent. Zach can tell you I'm probably too transparent, but because he's my friend, he knows so much about me. But I think that, you know, with your partner, you have to be willing to really be bare. It's like you have to be willing to show the insecurities, the vulnerabilities. And a lot of times people are fronting, right? Like, so they meet a person and they want to act like everything's perfect. I have no issues, you know, and then things kind of, you know, dissolve and they don't work out. So I think that we have to be clear about what we want, know who we are, and know what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it boils down to judgment, because when like a male and a female could be friends, right? And if they really care about each other as friends, that they don't really care about what decisions that person make from a judgment standpoint. They just care about that person is okay. But then as soon as that they start having like some type of intimacy or they get in a relationship, you know, that part changes, it switches around, and the judgment becomes more important than worrying about that person is okay. And I think that if people really keep things on the forefront and it's like, yo, let me make sure that this person is okay first and worry about this person is okay, we get to the judgment part later. I think that a lot of people will work out no matter what their circumstances are and their surroundings are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because when you are friends, like you can tolerate a lot more than the normal relationship. But for some reason, when you get connected in an intimate way, then it's like,
oh, it's like, damn, you did that. I don't even know if I want to go on a date with you no more.
The toleration level just goes down.
It goes down, you know, and
that's so crazy.
You know,
I think expectations go up too.
definitely.
It changes and you're like,
definitely.
Yep.
That was not easy. That wasn't easy. We did have some of that, right? Because going with him from being my homeboy, my bestie, right? Where it's like, okay, let's meet, have lunch. That's very different than my husband. And he's like, hey, where are you? You understand what I'm saying? Like it's a silly example, but that didn't exist in our relationship before. What are you talking about? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And now it's that accountability. I can't, dismiss that text. I have to respond to that immediately. So some of those nuances and those changes, we had to adjust and understand, like, okay, that friendship, absolutely. I think we're probably more friends than anything. So I think that will always be the lead. But I think then bringing on the other relationship accountability parts, we had to understand that at first, like the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
Months. You think months? Okay, months.
I think it's going to keep evolving because you're going to find yourself in like new dynamics that you weren't in before. And you'll be like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to
be. Because it's a huge adjustment. Like you said, from being just you doing your own thing. And now you really have to like not answer to somebody in a sense, like subjectively, but
yes,
out of consideration for that person.
Of course. Absolutely.
Your habits, the thing, So
I know
Yes,
but I love that. I love that part that you said, like, there were a lot of things that you knew to do, but you weren't actually doing. And I think that's a lot of us. Like we know
all. That's all of us.
That's all of us. See?
This is all of us.
Everybody, man. Everybody.
Yeah.
It's
everybody.
It's so, it can be so challenging. And so I want to ask you, like, what shifted for you that you decided to start doing that, like actually implementing those things?
For me, I had to really take inventory and be honest with myself about the role I played in my previous relationships not working out, and really be clear about how I saw my life now and where I see my life going. And I think that was very sobering for me, because accountability is so important, especially when you're ready to be in that, love ship, that committed relationship, that marriage. Marriage is like accountability. Like it should be called accountability. You know what I mean? And like seriously, because my husband is he is a very, very laid back person. He is a very like demure person. He's a man of few words, but when he speaks, you listen. And so there have been some situations where he's had to speak like he does not, he is so calm. Like how he is now is how he is 99% of the time, like very calm. But anytime he's had to really like be clear with me about some things, it has been like, oh my God, I'm falling apart. I can't believe, and I don't like that. So to avoid that, it's like I am diligent, because I don't want to fall out with my friends. I just respect them so much and I care about them so much. And I think I just want to be a good wife. And I want to lead our family and know my role. And he's helped me in so many ways understand that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What have been some major, or I won't say major, but what have been some changes for you, Zach?
Well, mine is trial and error, because it goes back to all my relationships, in all my relationships, there was things that I looked at as for myself, because once I leave a relationship, I'm gone. So there was things that I looked at for myself and I was like, well, you know what? I could have did that better. I shouldn't have said that. Or I could have just kept my mouth shut in that situation, and it's like just going through that over and over and over again. I kind of built up like my own self-help book in my own mind on how to go approach a relationship, And one of the things that I think helped me a lot is that I have no problem being alone. So being that I have no problem being alone, I can look at myself like I'm outside of my skin and be real with myself. You know what I mean? And when I was able to do that, I was able to look at everybody in my life, not just her, and see what kind of role they played, because I was able to, be comfortable with being alone. So I think all of those things played a role in me saying, oh, you know what? Let me make these few adjustments, this, that, and the third. And all right, now I'm ready to make a decision. And then it just so happened that she was there, and it was like very clear.
He just was blessed that I was there, because you know what? After wasting 18 years of my life, that is like our internal joke. And he's always like, you were busy, you were occupied, because I was married. So he's always like, you were busy. But I think we're now just trying to enjoy where the relationship has transitioned. Because now it's like, I'm able to live with my best friend. I'm able to be with my best friend all day, every day, and that's really how we look at it. And I think it's also our age, and we've been through, enough relationships now to know, like, this is what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something about going through those things. And you said it too, Zach, about kind of having your own self-help book when you are going through life and experiencing these things. And a lot of times we get upset and we just resent whatever happened. We don't learn from it. And then we just wind up repeating that same cycle over and over again. But when you can step out yourself, I think that's a great point, and really like hold yourself accountable.
You got to be able to be alone though. You know what I'm saying? Because people jump into other relationships, they can't be alone. They jump into other situations or have little whatever kind of situation going on in the meantime. Then that self-help book gets kind of like messed up. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Or it gets tainted with another relationship, like so fast afterwards. So I think that taking yourself outside of yourself, being comfortable and being alone, and holding yourself accountable is so important to growth.
Yeah. Because I think that's what you both are talking about. You grew.
Yeah.
Like you grew
absolutely
to each other.
Yes. Yes, we did.
She always try to come with these one-liners, like,
I love them.
And then she pauses, like, so other people could realize.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man,
that's a quote. That's a hashtag.
Yes. Yep.
So, something that you guys mentioned, especially talking about being alone. I know you both are introverted. So how has that? Because I'm introverted with extroverted tendencies. He's extroverted.
With
and he can.
I'm extroverted, but when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But we kind of have different needs, and sometimes we're like, it took us a minute to like get that we had different needs because of that.
Right.
So how is that with both of you being introverted? Was it easy? I know you guys known each other forever, but
that's a good point.
It's sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. Because somehow we always end up around each other, right? Which is all right, but then that could be a problem sometimes, right? So where it works at, where the dynamic works at, is that she likes to go out, right? So because she likes to go out and I like to stay in the house,
he does not like to go out.
I don't like to go out
at all.
So that's where it kind of balances itself out, because even though she's introverted, like she's not going to let people in her life or in her personal space like that, she still likes to go out, right? So, and she likes to be out. I go out. My whole life is like methodical. It's like I go out at a certain time. The sun got to be up a certain way. The wind got to be blowing a certain way for me to, you get what I'm saying? I'm very much like that. Whereas she's like free. She just like goes out. So that kind of balances it out, because us being introverted, sometimes we both just want to be alone and don't want to be bothered. And that could get crazy sometimes.
So do you guys have your designated spots? Like when I'm in my introvert, mode, I'm over here in the man cave, or I'm over here in the, what do you call it for the women?
A woman cave.
Women cave.
The rest of the house, I've known.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, exactly.
I definitely got my spot that I go to. It's just Mac. I need that. So I definitely need that.
Good. Yep.
I think it took us a minute to figure it out, because, I think it was a good balance too, because I was like always in, and he's like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, and that just it really opens up like creativity too, like for me,
Mhm.
because it
She
opens up
never
new.
went out before. Never. I had her out in the city. We were out going to,
I look like a tourist.
we're walking in the street and she's like, oh, wow, look at all the lights. I'm like,
like,
we about to get hit by a car.
I was scared to go to New York, but
Mhm.
yeah. So I think that is a good balance. That's a great balance.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's about communicating it though, right? Like, so sometimes, you kind of just think your partner's supposed to know, hey, I had a long day, I'm tired, I cooked, I cleaned, this was that. But like, guess what? You have to ask for what you need, right? So I learned the importance of saying, hey, I need to be alone for a few minutes, because guess what? Not saying it or not wanting to upset him by saying that, then I'll have an attitude later. You know what I'm saying? Because now,
Yeah.
and now I'm resentful. And then it comes out while we're watching television or something that's like, oh, can you pass the remote? Oh my God, here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Let's talk about it. So it may be not necessarily the most opportune times when we do it, and that may tick the other person off, but we do it. We communicate that we need that space.
It's important. And I just heard something today, was talking about giving people their transition phase time. Like when you come home, you had a long day of work, and because I may not say something to you, as soon as I walk in the door, doesn't mean I'm mad, but you need that time to transition.
Yes.
Let me get my husband hat on, let me get the wife hat on or dad hat, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of jumped the gun with them, like, hey, what you doing? Let me talk to you about this. And
it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Thank you for that, because that is true. And that's something that we can definitely, that's a jewel right there to take to our family. That's something I used to do. And I have to get back to, COVID has messed it up. But when I used to work in the office, I used to sit in the car like 20 minutes in the parking lot and really let the day go. So all my clients, everything I heard today, everything that weighed me down, and I would let it go and then go in the house. But with COVID, right, it's really the same boundaries don't exist, because even if you go to a separate space, you're still in your home. You know what I mean? So if we were both at work, I mean, we're not all blessed to be retired like Zach and to be an investor, but that's my shade.
He's like, interesting.
On Wall Street and to be an investor now. But I'm always like, it must be nice that you don't got to go to work and deal with people. But, I think that COVID has messed up so many relationships, because people are home with your partner all day long. When you were at work, you were able to be a different version of yourself. You know what I mean? You were able to not have to think about home in that way or think about your family in that way. And now you're doing your work in the living room and your kids are in their bedrooms. You know what I mean? Your partner's in the other room, and it's no separation. And I think so many people have been struggling with that. I definitely struggle with that, because I, need those I need that space, and I need those different roles to be clearly defined. And with COVID, it's all blended, and that's just been like it's tough.
Yep. It's almost
I need hours. I'm gonna be real. I need hours.
Yeah, you do.
I don't need 20 minutes. I need about 6-7 hours out my day.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'm up when nobody's up. And when everybody's up, I'm asleep. So we good now. The few hours that I do see y'all, I love y'all. I ain't see y'all all day.
Right.
That's a true introvert. That's a true introvert.
But it's good to hear somebody say that, because sometimes you could feel guilty for wanting to have your own space or wanting to be asleep while everybody else is up. But you need that. Like you said, everything, like school is at home, work is at home is at home. You know what I mean? Like everything is there.
Too much.
And you get like, I don't even know who I am. Am I, senior executive, or am I daddy, or am I husband, or am I,
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that we have different versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it's not us, and that we need those versions.
Yeah.
I love that. And then I love what Zach said about hours, because I'm definitely the person who needs I'll be trying to capture the full day. Like if if you were at work, can I get those 7 hours?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's just from true introverts. Yes.
Yes, I agree.
He
I
does.
agree.
He
I was
does.
born in my own world.
Only child, I'm saying, but
Mhm.
it's, you know, I think it is, you guys are right. And Leticia hit it right on the nail, communicating that. And I think a lot of people don't have the tools or don't know the tools to communicate. I
Mhm.
think sometimes, I know for me personally, there have been times I'm like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or for anybody to feel bad. And I wrote down, when you were saying that, I wrote down the word courage. And it was just reminding me that, like, there's a lot of courage needed in marriage to do the
Yes.
work, you know, that is required in
Yeah.
order for it to be successful.
Yeah. And I think too, realizing those things that are healthy for you are not like not feeling sorry and not feeling guilty for
Mhm.
wanting those things for your own mental space,
Mhm.
you know? And like you
Mhm.
said, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So you wind up just doing, what's going to make everybody else happy. Then you are upset and,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
It blows up. It blows up. It
yeah.
really does. And
Yeah.
I think, one of the things that we constantly have talked about, even in our friendship as it related to other relationships and now as it relates to us, is like, we can be offended and it's not the end of the world. And I think so many people have to definitely like pull their toes up a little bit. Like the reality is, I don't know how you're going to get through marriage thinking that everything your partner says and does, you're just going to love. That's just not the case. At times I'm like, I do not understand how you got to this age doing this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure he feels the same way. But I think that it's recognizing like we're in this and we're in it together. And I may be offended. I may be mad at you right now. Or we may need some time to where we go to my corner or you go to your corner or whatever. But we always come back. And I think that's important. That's important to know that you can come back. You can take some difficulties or some bumps and bruises. It doesn't have to mean it's a break or a breach. It's just a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of turbulence. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So before we shift into the other fun part of
Okay.
today's conversation, um, can you tell us how the proposal went? Like,
That's
how did that
interesting.
go? Was it in the midst of COVID?
Because it
Like,
wasn't. That's
It wasn't a traditional proposal. It was like we planned it in a way. We know each other so well and so much that it just flowed naturally. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you ever knew somebody so well that they were already family,
Yeah.
right? So this was like a formality for us.
Mhm.
So it was like, you know what? We just gonna go get married on Friday. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what it was. It's like, you know what? Let's just go get married on Friday. Like,
Yeah.
because we already, like, I know a lot of married couples, right? My grandmother and grandfather were together to death did them part. My dad has been married for 30 something years, right? So when I think about it from that standpoint and from what I've seen on the outside looking in, it takes more than love to be married, right? It takes like a certain type of connection or a certain type of bond that no matter what happens, when you ain't even worried about the love, that connection and that bond brings y'all together. And just learning that, we already kind of like established that over the 18-year period. It's like what married couples are going to go through, we probably went through already. So the whole transition into proposal and stuff like that was a formality because I felt like I've been married to her already. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like you said, when you're sure and then all of the other stuff just kind of it just goes along with it.
And it's the history. Like I didn't have to like introduce her to my mom. You get what I'm saying? My mom already had a separate relationship with her besides the relationship that I have with her. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been like that for a very long time.
The whole time.
So like on my 22nd birthday, it might have been my 22nd or 23rd birthday, I had a party, a surprise party. She threw the surprise party along with my other female best friend and my mom and my cousin. You get where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like, it was like, how much more of a high can we get? Like a proposal is not going to take us that high. So it's like, yo, let's go get married. All right, cool. Because we're ready for the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get where I'm going? So it's kind of a weird situation dealing with her because of our history.
Yeah. It's like the writing was already on the wall.
There you go.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's your hashtag right there. That's your one.
Hashtag writing on the wall.
See, I got another one.
It's like the marriage already happened already.
Yeah. But that's good. I love that that y'all, it was just like, let's do this, because I think, well, not I think, I know, like at the end of the day, it is just y'all. Like the kids are gonna be gone.
That's right.
Everybody else is what's our circle? Everybody else is on the outside, and it's just
that's right.
God on the inside. And
that's
so
right.
Really, it's just
protect your circle.
Yeah.
That's what it's
That's
about.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I'm grateful because I was like, but you know, I want a ceremony at some point, right? So he was like, okay, I'm gonna let you have that. So I'm happy about that.
Gotta have that. Gotta have that.
Now we actually came up with the ceremony first. We was gonna do the traditional route. But we were just like, yo, let's just go do it. Real quick. And
we were gonna do that first.
We get to the rest of it later.
Yeah.
Yep. We did the same thing.
We got married twice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you get 2 anniversaries or do you just do one?
We just do the one. Just because there's so many dates, Leticia. Listen, my phone can't hold that many dates in there to remind me.
Listen,
no, the funny thing is,
the first time we hold hands.
Exactly.
Right. The funny thing is, I think our first year anniversary, like we celebrated it in March, but then in July we had got married. I think on the 31st, right? July 31st. My friends and stuff was like, "Happy anniversary, happy!" I'm like, because they came to the wedding in July, so they remember July, and I was like, "That's so weird." We were married, but you know, it really began in March for us. So that's pretty cool. So to end, well, I guess not to end, but to come to close.
Yeah, we got a couple of more questions for you guys, just to find a little bit more about you.
Okay.
You want to do this one or?
Yeah.
So we're talking about couples goals, right? We're gonna throw 2 couples out there. Take away the fame, take away the money, all that other stuff, and just how they operate as a couple. Who would you say are couples goals? Either Barack and Michelle or Jay-Z and Beyonce?
You go first. I want to hear what you say.
I would say Barack and Michelle.
Why?
And the reason why I say that is because when Barack met Michelle, he was like unpolished and he was on a come up, and she was already established, right? But that dynamic didn't matter. She was just more worried about the inner qualities of who he was. So, you know, I read a lot. So I read about their relationship, and I read that their first date was to see Do the Right Thing, and their second date was he asked her for a second date, and she said yes. She got all dressed up for a second date, and he took her to a women's shelter that he ran, and introduced her to all the women that depend on him. And when she saw all these women rely on this one man, she knew right then and there that was the man for her. And I think that I like the dynamic of that, you know. Now that he's the breadwinner and he's, you know, paying all the bills or whatever, it's like they don't have to worry about who's down for what.
Yeah. Respect the come up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they're both goals. I think anybody who makes a decision to be committed and to create a family and to be married, to stand before God and to say I do to someone, I think, that person deserves all the accolades and all the credit, because it's so easy, especially now, 2021, to not do that, right? There's so many ways to not, have to be accountable and to be mature and to be responsible and respectable. And I think the dynamics were the same. I mean, Jay-Z was Jay-Z. He was definitely established and all of that. However, his everything definitely changed when he married Beyonce, right? Things went global, right? And I think that goes to that scripture, right? He who findeth a wife findeth a good thing, for he receives favor from the Lord. And I think both of the couples that you mentioned, both of these men have been able to get to such a high level because the individual next to them has showed that dedication, that commitment. They've been there, right? And I think the women have been able to get to those high levels. Why? Because the person next to them has showed that love, showed that loyalty, that dedication. They've been there. So I think they're both goals, because guess what? They're both Black couples that are trying to make it, just like you guys and just like us.
You cheated.
Why?
I know, right? She just trying to take it full circle.
They said choose one.
I can't. I'm breaking the rules.
I would have said both too.
Both. No, well, it's too late. I'm broken.
Obviously.
But I do like what you said about, Barack and just his mindset. And I think the same goes for Jay-Z too, just as far as their mindsets. And, Jay-Z's all about establishing legacy and, leaving behind something. And I think Barack is the same way. Maybe, leaving something behind in a different way, more so like a movement or just a mentality. But they're both, set on leaving something behind, leaving a legacy behind, and that's probably what Bay and Shelly saw.
Shelly?
Leticia got it. She got it. Beyonce and Michelle, I think that's what they saw the potential and they saw the drive in them. So that's good stuff, guys.
That is.
So before we end, we want you guys to give us, I guess, one piece of advice where you are in your marriage, in your relationship journey. What piece of advice would you have for other couples?
That are married or not married?
What'd you say?
I'd say that are not married. Yeah.
Okay.
What advice would I give to people that are not married? I would say that self-love is the best love. And the reason why I would say that is because the more you love yourself, the more you're capable of loving others. The more you're capable of extending that love. So it's like the more money you have, the more you're able to give to others. It's kind of like the same dynamic, input, output. So I think that people that love themselves, the more they love themselves, the more love they give.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that is good.
That's real good. I like the analogy too. That's a hashtag all in
I know,
itself.
I'm like, drop the mic.
Yeah,
that was good.
I would say to people that are not married, to couples who are considering marriage, the word I would say is honesty. I think that we live in a culture where people say they keep it real and people say, this is who I am, I'm transparent and all of that. But usually discord comes about because there is a lack of honesty, right? Whether that is about what you truly expect from your partner, whether that's about what you really want to give or not give, whether that's about, how you feel about a particular topic. Oftentimes in relationships, in order to not ruin it, we're not authentic and we're really dishonest and we wonder why things fall apart. So for me, I would say really, really be honest. Like, this is the most honest relationship I have ever had, because even though this was my best friend for 18 years, there were still certain things he did not know about me, that living together and being my husband, you can't hide. You know what I'm saying? So, meeting my homie for pizza or for a movie is not the same as my husband every day, all day, at night, everything. Like, you can't hide certain things. And so I had to be honest with myself and I had to be honest with him. And so I would just implore couples to really, really consider if they're being as honest as possible in their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
both of y'all dropping
Having
mics over
them
here.
gems.
I
Thank
know.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're super excited for you guys, and
Thank
we're
you.
excited to see what the future holds. Next time we're gonna say, well, soon we'll be able to say to the next couples goals, Leticia.
Yes.
and
Yes.
Mhm,
Yes. I
mhm.
love it.
Definitely.
Thank you
Yeah.
guys so
Yeah.
much. Thank you for having us. Thank you so, so much, and giving us the opportunity to tell our story, because our story is so interesting. And I want people to know, like, it's never too late. You know, you just never know. Always be open, always be flexible, because when God moves in your life, he moves, and you just never know where things land. Had we known, it's like I can't even think about it. Had we known, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
we would have been, but here we are.
Everything in his timing.
Yeah.
Everything in his
That's
time.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what y'all doing too, you know, what y'all got going on and how y'all building together. You know, it's great. It's a good example for others, you know, because we need examples out here. You know, everybody's flying solo right now, you know. So it's like we need examples. We need to see people out there doing things together as couples, building empires, and having fun doing it, and like not being ashamed about it. You know, you get what I'm saying? Just like being out there in the open. So I commend y'all for what y'all got going on. You know, I'm definitely going to support y'all in every which way, and be on the lookout for y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
We
you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Definitely. Appreciate that. But we thank you guys so much for taking the time out. We know that y'all are busy, you know, making that legacy and doing your thing. So appreciate it. The journey and the story, I think, was powerful, impactful for other couples. And I pray and I hope that they listen all the way through, because the things that you guys had to add will definitely help, you know, a marriage survive, you know, and stay
Thank you so
together.
much.
So
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akita and Leticia. Pleasure meeting y'all, and thanks for having us.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right.